Всем привет, с вами Серебряная пуля, и у нас в гостях Conor Neall. Where are you from?
England, and now I work with Circus Space. I've been touring with Circus Space for 2.5 years, and yeah, we're doing Russia. I started at Circus Space, which is a school in London. So before I did parkour and acrobatics and a bit of juggling. So I auditioned as a juggler. So I went to Circus Space, they thought I was going to be a juggler, and then I saw Chinese pole and was like, I'm going to do that. So I spoke with the head of acrobatics for the program, and he was like, okay, you've got 2 months to get as good as you can, and if you're good enough after 2 months, then you can change discipline and do Chinese pole. So I practiced every day and yeah, I just really wanted it, so I really worked for it, and I did that, and then I spent the 3 years at Circus Space studying Chinese pole. I do Chinese pole, trampoline and trampo wall, floor acrobatics and Diablo. I've been doing circus for 6 years. So yeah, I started at Circus Space, and then I've been doing parkour and acrobatics, and Diablo I started 2 years before I started Circus Space. So. I try and practice 5 or 6 times a week. So most days I give myself at least 1 full day of nothing. It depends. If I'm at home, then I live with my girlfriend, so I go and do things on the weekend. So about 5 days a week. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really developed how we look at Chinese pole and how people do sequencing and stuff, because Chinese pole has kind of quite old set moves in a way. And pole dance, I feel, has brought in lots of different moves and different grips and exploration and stuff. So I think the exploration side of it is really exciting, and it's brought a lot to Chinese pole, and I like the fact that you can merge the 2 styles and play with them. So yeah, it's really fun. It's really interesting development on what was already there before.
Did you practice pole dance before or not?
No, I've touched a pole, like a steel pole before, but I've never tried any tricks or anything, so I have no idea how much I'll be able to do or not. Lots of things. This is my last tour with Circus, so I'm looking out for other jobs, other prospects. I really enjoy teaching, so I'll probably do some teaching as well. I'd like to do another show. I love touring. I really like traveling and meeting people and seeing new places. So hopefully a touring show for a while. Eventually I'd like to make something of my own, make my own show, but in a few years. I really like contemporary circus, the mixing of disciplines, using dance and theatre alongside with circus disciplines. So not so much the traditional style, but much more a blending of cultures and of ways of moving. So like dance is just movement, and then circus is movement on an apparatus, so why are they different? They're not. So it's nice to blend the 2 and use dance and circus together and have the things on the floor blend in with the things on the pole or things on other apparatus.
Do you practice dancing?
Yeah, my girlfriend's a choreographer, so she whips me into shape.
You're lucky man.
That's a tough one. circus is really different country to country. I'm not going to say any one is better than another because it's really interesting seeing the differences. For example, the level in Montreal is really high, so in Canada they have a really high level and they're doing some really interesting things, and like some of the biggest companies in the world are based there. So it's amazing to be there and be in the kind of cradle of contemporary circus. Then France does some really interesting things. I feel like their circus culture has been going on longer. It's much more part of their national culture. So people expect circus to be an art form as much as it is a form of entertainment. So there's lots more exploration within circus. So I really like watching things in France, and then Sweden's got a really interesting up-and-coming circus scene. Dock is a really strong school, they're doing lots of really interesting research. So there's lots of really interesting things happening all over the world. They're kind of the standout ones. But I've been, there's lots of places I've been have really interesting things happening. Hard to name them all. That's a hard one. I try and kind of take inspiration from wherever I can, so I spend a lot of time on YouTube watching videos, seeing what other polers are doing, seeing what's happening in the pole dance world, watching dance acrobatics, other circus disciplines, seeing if tricks can transfer from one discipline to another, but then going and seeing shows, like just going and watching dance pieces, theatre pieces, circus shows. It's really interesting just to see what's happening in the world and to take something that might be completely unrelated and see how it can transpose onto our discipline. So I think I'm more stimulated by visual cues, so it's watching things and seeing things. I'm not very good at taking music and doing things with that. I wish I was, but I'm not. Yeah. Because the idea is always too big. I come up with a concept for a video and make the idea and like run away with it, and then the reality of actually filming it is too much. I film myself training for feedback, but I often don't then spend the time sitting down and editing them together. I always want it to be in like a perfect setting, so like my pole in the middle of some amazing wood, or on the edge of a cliff, or on a beach or something, or even just in a really nice like, old abandoned warehouse, something more than just a training space. So when I take training videos, I don't want to post them because I want it to be like a video that encapsulates, like there's an artistic side to the video as well as just the technique. So I get like stuck on myself. There's lots of people. I mean, when I started watching Chinese pole on YouTube, I watched every video that I could find. So one person that I've worked with quite a lot, he taught me a bit whilst I was doing my degree, and I've since watched a lot of his shows and I really like what he does, is Fabian Wicks, who has a really interesting style, really works with movement, it's really interesting. And then Joao, again, he's really pushed Chinese pole forward, so I find his stuff really, really exciting. It's really interesting what you guys are doing here. It's really interesting seeing this Russian movement come up.
Thank you, man.
I try and watch everything that's going on and take stuff on. There are a few of the names that have kind of really inspired me. Another two guys that work together are Vincent and Valo, and their company Sans Issue. They're really cool. The way they move on the pole is just incredible. Like really nice style. I've done a workshop with Valo. It's really interesting.
So it's Conor Neall. So it was.
Let's do this.
Thank you for answers.
That's okay.